Today I'm eating mahjong mian, um, which means ma means or it's part of the word for sesame, chuma. Um, and then when you use often Chinese words will have two parts, and you'll when you want to use it as a compound word with some other thing, you drop one of the parts. So you often have if you just are talking about sesame, you say juma, but um, if you want to have something that's sesame based, you just say the ma part. And then jiang means sauce. Um, so mahjong means sesame sauce. Um, it's kind of like a tahini type sauce that's just ground sesame, sometimes with some seasoning in it. Um, it's quite a popular condiment uh, in China for several different purposes. They put it in a lot of different kinds of sauces. They'll add it into sauces. When you're eating hot pot, um, usually you'll have like a little bowl you make of some sauce that you dip your food that you cooked in the hot pot in, and often people will. That's the most popular type of sauce to use. They just use the mahjong. Um, but these noodles are a specific kind of mahjong mian. So there's a traditional style that's from. It's not from this area, but it's what you usually see around this area. That has just some spaghetti style noodles with this mahjong sauce poured on top, and then you you mix it up a bit and get it all mixed together, and then you eat it. This dish is a little different. This is called Chongqing Mahjangmian. Chongqing is a city in Sichuan, or near Sichuan. Um, I guess it's not technically in Sichuan, but it's around where Sichuan is. Um, and so this is and it's known for usually having pretty spicy food. So this is kind of like a spicy version. Although I think I said in a previous video, there's two kinds of spices. There's Ma, which actually is the same character as the Ma in Juma and Sesame, but in this case it means the numbing spice. So this is kind of like a not a play on words, but a double meaning of the mahjong mian. It's got the sesame paste, but it's also a numbing spicy um, paste. It's got that numbing spice added to it. At this restaurant, you can get different levels of both spice and numbing spice. I am a pretty big fan of the numbing spice, but I'm not such a huge fan of the spicy, just hot spicy. So I get mine without the spicy peppers in it and stuff, and just with the numbing pepper pepper powder. Usually, the numbing pepper is usually ground up like it's just pepper seeds, peppercorns that are ground up into like a similar to our kind of black pepper. Whereas the spicy pepper tends to be just chilies that are put into things. And so this has a bit of like a mouth numbing feel to it. And then it's got that kind of earthy, savory taste of sesame. Like if you think about sesame paste, um, so it's not exactly the same as tahini, but it's a very similar kind of sauce to tahini. I think you can probably find it in the West as just Chinese sesame paste. I would assume, but I've never seen it anywhere. But there's probably it probably exists at various Chinese markets and things. So this is what's um, called a banmian dish. So banmian means mixed together noodles. So they're not. The noodles are not cooked in the sauce, right? The noodles are cooked plain, put in a bowl, and then you pour the sauce on top of it with some. This has some little, greenery stuff, and it's got some peanuts and stuff in it. Let me see if I can. All right, like it's got a little peanut here. So it's got some like toppings sprinkled on top, and then the sauce poured on it. And then in your bowl, you're supposed to mix it together. So that type of dish is usually called banmian. As opposed to something like chow mein, which is stir-fried noodles. So that's where the noodles are actually stirred together while they're cooking it. This is a very popular restaurant dish. It can be very cheap because they just need to have a bunch of pots of different sauces. This restaurant has a ton of. This isn't their specialty dish. This is just one of the things they have. They specialize in Chongqing style noodles. So from the city of Chongqing, and there's a whole bunch of different styles of noodles. There's like ground beef or ground pork that you can get on it. There's like a bean paste you can get on it. There's various veggies or meats or other things you can get on it. Like they have a wide range of various things, but all of the dishes are the same banmian. So they're all just cooked noodles that you then put something on and mix together in your bowl. And so that can be done very cheaply by a restaurant. They just need to have fresh noodles each time, to cook the noodles up. And they just need a bunch of different sauces, basically, that they can put on the noodles. So this is a really excellent, cheap food option. I might actually talk about that. So the home delivery food, like getting food delivered to your house in China, is called Waimai, which means Y means outside and mai means buy, so outside buy, or takeout, similar to like our word takeout. But it means they get it delivered to you. There's lots of services that have like lots of guys on little motorbikes driving around delivering food. This has been, I think, it gained popularity in China more than it did in America, before it did in America. But I think in both places, the pandemic kind of escalated the extent to which every restaurant has this thing available. Like, so there's two main services in China that do this. There's one called Ulama and one called Meituan. And there's several other smaller ones, but those are the two big ones. And that's similar to something like in America, like Uber Eats or DoorDash or something like that. They're a delivery company that has lots of little drivers, and then restaurants sign up for it, and you order through the app, and then their driver goes, picks up your food, and brings it to you. And I mainly use the one called Ulama, and I have the VI. I use it enough that I bought the VIP membership, which basically lets you get some money back for, basically you accumulate various points and things, and then I typically end up getting about like 6 to 8 kwai back for every 40 kwai I spend. So the exchange rate is around 7 kwai to $1. Kwai is the Chinese renminbi. Here people usually call it kwai here. So basically, as you spend a certain amount of money, like you get points back, and those accumulate, and then you can get coupons with the points. And I would say on average, I get about so it translates to around $1 for every $6 spent. So 40 kwai is about $6. And you get like 6 to 8 kwai back, which is about $1. There's different coupons for different restaurants and things. So like you might not always get exactly the same amount back. But that's what I would say an average is too. And what in order to get the points, your order has to be over 20 kwai, which is about $3. And this is something that's so cheap that it doesn't qualify for the points back system because it's less. I think it cost me 17 kwai, which is like $2.75 or something US dollars. I think I don't really think in American money anymore. I've my brain it thinks in Chinese money, but I kind of know the conversion rate fairly well, so I can translate things back. But so this is a pretty cheap meal. It's not as cheap as buying something like this on the street. If you bought this in a shop, you could get it for under 10 kwai, which is like about $1. Maybe if you got a drink with it, like $1.50 in American money. Whereas with Waimai, that bumps up to being closer to 20 kwai, a little under 20 kwai, which is slightly less than $3, so like $2.75 or so. But the city Chongqing is very famous for its spicy dishes, both the hot spicy and the numbing spicy. They've got all of it. They're quite famous for hot pot, but they also have this style of noodles that's quite famous. It's usually with some kind of spicy oil, some kind of meat, or vegetable stuff, and then like spicy oil that you then mix up with noodles. And that's called Chongqing Mian. And this is just Chongqing, and then you say what kind of mian. It's the Majiang Mian. So this is their version of that dish. It's quite different than if you go to any other restaurant in Harbin and order this Majiang Mian dish, it won't be what this restaurant is serving. This is a sort of regional variation from a different city. But I like ordering from this restaurant because I like the ma spicy, the numbing spice. And I just think their noodles are really good. I think this restaurant's quite good. And then, they throw like some peanuts on top and some little veggie kind of things as well. But, it's mostly just about the sauce. It could be, you might think it's a little plain. It's just noodles with some like sauce mixed on top of it, but that's a pretty standard kind of lunch food. Actually, dinner food. In China, generally, lunch is the bigger meal. So typically you'll have a big, where your working environment allows it, where you can cook things at home or whatever, or depending on your situation. The classic thing to do is a pretty big breakfast, a big lunch, and then a light dinner, light supper. That's kind of the classic Chinese thought process on food. So this would actually probably be more likely eaten as a breakfast or as a snack for dinner. But For an American who likes having a light lunch and a heavier dinner, this makes an excellent lunch. These are really good restaurants for going and sitting in as well. They're usually little small hole in the wall places with just some stools and little tables, and it's an excellent place if you want to hang out with your friends and drink beer. You go in, you each get a bowl of noodles and you buy a bunch of beer and sit around drinking beer at the table. Or the other thing that people do is just really quick in and out, like businessmen on their way home from work kind of thing. You pop in, you get a quick meal, and you pop out again. A really fast service. You eat quickly. In my case, I'm ordering it delivery to my house. But it got here. It was it's a 20-minute delivery. Like within I ordered it and it got here between 15 and 20 minutes from when I ordered it, and it's super cheap. It's really fast and cheap, and it's just a really convenient fast food kind of item. It's one of my go-to kind of quick meals. It's filling, it's cheap, it's fast, it tastes good, so it fills all the criteria. It fills all the little check boxes. And again, you'll notice I drink a lot of Coca-Cola with my dishes. A lot of stuff here is pretty greasy. Often water doesn't really cut through that grease, and Coca-Cola does, so I drink a lot of Coke with the stuff. I mean, it also tastes good, and they don't really have the same selection of sodas that you would have in America as far as colas go. Usually they have Coke or Pepsi, and most restaurants will only have one of those. In the Chinese restaurants don't really consider those different items. It's just they'll usually stock one or the other, and it's their cola that they serve. Most places will often have, as far as drinks go, sort of standard drinks for a restaurant to have will be Coke, an orange soda, like a Fanta, orange Fanta or something like that. Some kind of a bottled tea, like a bottled sweet tea, and perhaps some kind of a juice, they've got. That spice is making my nose run. They've got sort of like juice boxes that a lot of restaurants will have with apple juice, or sometimes it'll be like lychee juice or something like that. There's also a soda that's like a lychee soda that's pretty popular, and a lot of restaurants will have that. And then most places will have alcoholic drinks as well. But as far as soft drinks go, that's kind of the standard. And then maybe bottled water or something. Some places will have quite a bit more selection than that. Other places might have less, but that's kind of the just general what you would expect. If you go into a random restaurant, those are the things you would expect them to have. Like Coke, orange soda, probably lychee soda, one or two kinds of bottled tea, usually a sweet black tea. They call it red tea here, Hong Cha. So there's something that's called Bing Hong Cha. Bing means ice, Hong means red, Cha means tea. So they call what we call black tea, they call red tea because in the cup it looks red, right? The liquid looks red after you brew it. So that's called red tea. And they might also have some kind of bottled green tea. Those are usually the standard things to have. But I thought I'd also mention, I mentioned the name of Coca-Cola before, Coca-Cola. But this is kind of a play on words. A lot of marketing here is pretty ingenious. for rebranding Western things. So they've done something where, like, if you're just looking at it, you think, oh, they just did something to sound the same as Coca-Cola. But so this "k" is like able to. So able to, ko means your mouth, a mouthful. So able to have a mouthful, k, able to, and this l means happy. So able to be happy. So it basically means drink a mouthful and you'll be happy. Which is, in my mind, pretty ingenious that they managed to get something that sounded like Coca-Cola and has like a... So you have to read into it to get that meaning. Like, you wouldn't immediately look at that and say, like, the grammar is not quite right and stuff like that. But, like, it clearly says, have a mouthful, be happy. And so I find that pretty entertaining. A lot of other Western properties and things have had their names changed in similar ways. As I order from places, I'll probably mention those as well. But I think that's probably good enough for now.